I understand that nobody is ever going to like every single piece of wrestling content that is put out there. That is what the world is all about. Opinions and then shouting at somebody else who doesn't agree with those opinions. But I'm just going to say, I thought Raw last night was a very easy to watch and a very enjoyable show where there was actually some consistency with some storylines, and we even teased that we're going to be building some new stars. What the hell is going on? But my name is Simon Miller. You have tuned into WhatCulture Wrestling. Look at me trapped in my little box. It is ups and downs where we go through wrestling programming and we give the good bits up and we give the bad bits a down. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Let's up those flipping darn downs. Sometimes I love WWE. Before the show had even got going, we were having the whole bum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, you know, saying now, forever, WWE, yes, we're about to start. Everybody get excited. It was all glitchy. It was all weird. It had a couple of sound effects that made you feel uncomfortable. It was quite clear you were meant to think that Bray Wyatt was now in the production truck having a bunch of fun. It was great. That all tied into the opening, which was a Seth Rollins promo, but you know what? Taking all of this together, give it up. It was just Seth Rollins heading to the ring to do the usual mic work that we get in most episodes of Raw. But look, he did all that I could have asked of him because he sounded scared of Bray Wyatt. He talked about getting attacked by the Fiend last week, and really, it was something he didn't want to do again, but he's going to have to at Hell in a Cell. He then went on to say around about 76,422 times that he was going to survive and prevail, and I bet you that's already a t-shirt up on WWE Shop. I mean, he really ran it into the ground, which is ironic because usually he's talking about burning things into the ground. Well, Seth, you went the other way this time, didn't you? However, this was the right side of, shit, I'm in a right proper mess here and I don't know how I'm going to get out of it, which was doubled when we heard, "Boo!" and Braun Strowman came out, and my word, Braun Strowman was so pissed off. He was all like, Seth, last week you said you didn't want to have a rematch with me. And Seth rightly went, no, I didn't say that. I said I was happy I wouldn't have to face you again in a match because you're like really big and you whooped my ass. And he's right, Strowman. Also, if we pretend that wrestling is a legitimate sport, why the hell would he want to take you on again? That would be ridiculous. Anyway, they had such a big row. Surprise, surprise. Our main event for the evening is going to be Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman, but there could be worse things than that. Michael Cole then shouted into his headset, "Are you ready to join the raid?" And it's just got too much for me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a pedant. I don't mean to pull at straws, but I can't handle him do this all the time. Like when Sasha Banks comes out, it's bath time. When Roman Reigns is there, it's the big dog. And now we've got to have it with the Viking Raiders too. The Viking Raiders, WWE half the time doesn't even care about the Viking Raiders. It takes me out of the experience, you know, it takes me out of the Viking experience, and it just makes me want to take my face and stick it into a pillow. Down. Maybe I've been living under a rock as well, not the rock, I'm pretty sure that would be illegal, but all of a sudden we were hearing this badass music and we had this cool light show, and it turned out it was the OC's new entrance. Did I miss something, or was this brand new for Raw? I really liked it. I thought it absolutely rocked. Also, this did mean that it was going to be the Viking Raiders versus Gallows and Anderson, and I am always going to be happy with two big units smashing the crap out of each other. Give it all it up. AJ Styles was out there for a bit, and as always, he is just the best damn heel in the company. Despite him continually being an asshole, when he did get ejected by the referee, it's all like, it's not my fault. People kept attacking me first. And then very interestingly, on the rampway, as he was leaving, Styles did get beaten up by Cedric Alexander. Now, I thought we were done by that, given over the last couple of weeks, Cedric has looked like an absolute goof. They didn't do anything else throughout the rest of Raw, but I guess I'll keep my eye on it. Back in the ring though, our crew started to kick proper lumps out of each other, so much so they actually got the crowd. And at one point, Eric kicked out of a boot of doom by Gallows and Anderson, and everybody bought that as the finish. I'm going to guess that the OC are now just a little bit confused that they did sign new WWE deals a few months ago, because it seems like their push has come to an end. They did indeed lose here. They got hit with the Viking experience. Clean, slap bang in the middle of the ring, so while it was a very good match and I enjoyed it, I don't really understand where Gallows and Anderson are going, although to that point, I don't really understand why the Viking Raiders are going either, because on this night, Dolph Ziggler wasn't on the show, and Bobby Roode was competing to become the #1 contender for the Universal title. So you tell me. Mr. Roode was then interviewed in the back, and he was really pissed off because despite him spending all of his time just pacing back and forth through the corridors, he was absolutely livid that Charlie Caruso had the audacity to ask him a question. Anyway, he's going to win tonight, and then he will beat Seth Rollins next week, because that's what we got later. It's a fatal 5-way match. It's Bobby Roode, it's Shinsuke Nakamura, it's AJ Styles, it's Ricochet, it's Rey Mysterio, and Bobby, bless his heart, bless his beard, and sometimes his moustache, he actually thought he was going to win. You're a lovely man. It's a good sit-down interview with Becky Lynch, though. Give it up. Not much to say, it's just nice when WWE does do this, because the UFC does it and the NFL does it, so it makes World Wrestling Entertainment look like a sport, and Becky Lynch is good at this, and she keeps getting better each and every week. She is excited about her Hell in a Cell match with Sasha Banks, and when she is there, she wants to remind everyone the cell is in place to keep Sasha Banks in there, and even though she has experience of the Demon's favourite structure, whatever the hell JR used to call it, Becky Lynch is going to go in, she's going to beat Sasha Banks, and then she's gonna leave. Things then got really odd, but you know, because I'm biased, it's gonna get it up. It was EC3 versus Rusev, but instantly the commentators told us, and they were laughing the whole time too, Rusev isn't really the dad of Maria's baby. What a bunch of idiots you all were for thinking that, despite Maria saying, hey, here's my baby daddy, and Rusev's music playing 7 days ago. So we took that storyline and we set it on fire and we burned it in around about 3.2 seconds. Thanks very much, WWE. Down. Also, Rusev absolutely killed EC3 here. I mean, he didn't even get a lick of offense. And like I say, that's where the up comes from, because I'm biased and I'm happy for Rusev to beat everybody. But still, if you are Ethan the Carter III, and only one person will be, I completely understand why you'd be confused right now. He got put in the accolade, he tapped out, he was in a lot of pain, but we really need to know what is going on with EC3. That's why I've gone out there to get some help. Hello, it's me, the detective, and after my successful investigation into the Roman Reigns murder case, I have been employed to try and figure out what is going on with EC3, also known as Ethan Carter III. He has been treated like a barrel of fish. Vince McMahon saw the photos of his naked ass. So there you have it. That's what I've learned so far, and I hope to bring you more once I'm able to figure it out. That aside though, just to underline it, given my love for Rusev, I am perfectly cool with WWE pushing him to the moon. Rusev, moon, Rune. Did not work, move on. Rey Mysterio was also then bigging up this fatal 5-way later, and of course, he is gonna dedicate this match to his son. Even though that is a pile of baloney, Ray, it has nothing to do with Dominic. If you do win and become the #1 contender, it's you that get a Universal title shot. Dominic ain't gonna be like, oh, it feels like I won it. If he does, he would be a giant asshole. So stop lying to me, Ray. You're meant to be a babyface. We then saw Nikki Cross versus Sasha Banks, and I think we should all take a moment to realize that Nikki Cross is an NXT call-up, especially from that big batch of call-ups that is actually doing pretty well on the main roster. So between that and the match, give it up. And look, yeah, it was a tad bit long and the fans didn't get into this that much, but by the end of the thing, I thought we'd established a few key points. One, the story here was that despite Sasha Banks winning, and she did, she made Nikki Cross tap out to the Banks statement, she was, you know, portrayed as Sasha's equal, and of course out the outside you had Bayley and Alexa Bliss, and they were fighting like children, as everybody does. I don't understand it in wrestling. If you come out with your partner or whatever, and you are stood outside the ring, something goes off in your head and you become a 12-year-old, and you just run around creating a nuisance. AJ Styles was doing it, now these two was doing it. It's just part of the course. Our heels then beat up the somehow they're now baby faces, and of course that would be Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and I do enjoy how WWE is crossing the streams, even though the Ghostbusters told us never to do with that. It's nice when narrative threads kind of go here, there, and everywhere, although I will say we do need to come up with something for the Women's Tag Team Championships. They feel more and more redundant each and every week. We then went on a little bit of a ride because we were backstage and the OC were really mad, but AJ Styles said that he will win the Fatal 5-Way later. We also found out that Brock Lesnar's gonna be on Raw next week. Oh my gosh, so much Brock Lesnar. How's this happening? WWE then told us they're really good at social media because they got the numbers, and the Street Profits celebrated with The Miz because The Miz and Maurice gave birth to their new child recently. Of course, their new child wouldn't be an old child. They didn't give birth to their last child and be like, what? We've had this one already. Anyway, it was fine. Congratulations to them. Right, now everybody breathe because I think that Lacey Evans had a great week. All that stuff with the Canadian cop that pulled her over and she was in character and it created right buzz and went viral. It proved that kayfabe is still alive. I thought was fantastic. And fair play to Lacey Evans for understanding how all that should work, even though she did have to come out and apologize because that's just Twitter for you. But look, I don't even mind that right now she's systematically going through the women's division. Unfortunately though, the women's division in WWE, at least on Raw and SmackDown, isn't as deep as it should be. So, you know, when you do start taking out people like Ember Moon, which happened here, what the hell do you do when you've wrapped up other feuds? Also, I don't understand, poor Ember Moon. She's so talented and she gets nothing. Therefore, when we wrap all that in a bow, getting it down. And it was a cool match too, which proves my whole point. At one point, Ember Moon was like hanging off the ring apron. She was upside down, but she still managed to like reverse that into some kind of like modified eclipse, and it looked great and it got the fans going crazy. But before long, Lacey Evans just punched her in the face, locked on a sharpshooter, and Ember Moon had to tap out. And again, that's great. This is building the feud between Evans and Natalya. But when that is done, maybe we need Ember Moon to do something else, and then we got to build her back up. Look, we're getting jobbers from everybody else. You know, everybody's beating up random people, local talent. Why can't we just do that with Lacey Evans too? And if you can't find anybody else, I hear that EC3 is available. However, Natalya then said, hello and welcome to Nobody Talks Like That with me, Simon Miller, the annoying skid and ups and downs, where somebody says something stupid on Raw or SmackDown or WWE TV, and we try and assess what the hell they even meant. Because it is the Raw season premiere next week, which is basically like a new season. Let's call this season 2, which means I've got a new swanky hat that you can't even see because it's just too tall. And Natalya was backstage and she said, well, if Lacey Evans wants a rematch, Lacey Evans better be ready to tap out. Natalya, just keep it nice and simple and say, when I'm going to take on Lacey Evans for a second time, I'm going to make her tap out to the sharpshooter. You really do make confusing sentence structures with your words, because nobody talks like that. And I know, it's not the worst we've had here on Nobody Talks Like That, but still, given them all together, just getting it down. That Firefly Funhouse does not get old, does it? We're coming up to around about 6 months now, and it's still just an entertaining riot. Give it up. Here Wyatt was putting up more pictures of his victims. Obviously the new one was Kane, but he also had empty frames, I guess for wrestlers that he's going to beat up down the line, while his puppets were fighting over an action figure of Seth Rollins. Bray told them all to calm down, they should learn how to share, and to prove that, he got the Seth Rollins action figure and he just tore it in two. He then looked down the camera lens as I'm doing now, and he did his traditional laugh and went, ha ha ha, see you in hell, and I've decided to take that literally. Ding, there's my button to hell. Down I go to the Fiend's version of hell, and as I am going, I realize it's a terrible idea. I don't want to go to hell, but there's nothing I can do because I'm a bored asshole. WWE were then really smart. It was based around the 24/7 title as R-Truth legged it to the ring, followed by the usual group of geeks. Eventually Carmella got sick of this and got on the microphone and said, look, I can't take this anymore. For the last 4 months, I've basically been running away and I don't want to run anymore. Truth agreed, but it turned out to be a ruse. Carmella finally turned on her friend, rolled him up, and she is your new 24/7 champion. What this was, though, was a role reversal, because as soon as she had won, guess who came out instead? That's right, now we've got a women's version of the Geeks, and I mean that as a compliment, because who was there? It was Tamina, I think it was Billie Kay, we had Dana Brooke, and they all chased Carmella off, and I actually think this is an interesting way to keep that 24/7 title relevant. We've done it with the guys, now let's do it with the girls. All we gotta do is be creative, and everything will be all right. Sami Zayn and Nakamura were also having a chat when Nakamura told Sami Zayn to calm down because he was getting too fired up. These two are absolutely going to feud soon. Who would have thought that a rematch between Baron Corbin and Chad Gable could be so exciting, get so much crowd support, and just make you feel all wonderful about the world? I didn't predict that, but I am giving it an up. Because yeah, not only did they get some proper time here, but when we got to the finish, the audience in attendance on this evening were absolutely desperate for Chad Gable to win. He was getting some pretty much near falls, and at one point, he even had Baron Corbin locked in the ankle lock, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, he may actually be about to do it. But do you know what Corbin did? He got his scepter, and he smacked Gable right in the face. Now, if you watch Ups and Downs a lot, you know I usually don't like that, because I'm like, oh, the DQ finish, WWE does this so much, it's so boring. But this time, it worked because it genuinely pissed the fans off. They now hate Baron Corbin even more, and they're now even more desperate for Chad Gable to get the victory. As long as that's what happens when we get to the last match of this program, everything is going to be okay. And I know it's WWE, but I'm a glass half full of water, no half full, you know what I mean? A positive, an optimistic guy. Also want to give a shout out to Baron, who came out as King Corbin. He had the crown, he had the scepter, he had the robe, but he's dyed them all black. And I guess that's how he spent his week. He had 7 days to do this. He didn't want to do anything else, so he just had a bit of fun. He's playing dress up. But again, before you get all raged about this, just remember where Chad Gable was a few weeks ago and where he could be if we don't do anything stupid. We may actually be on the cusp of inventing a new star. That's right, inventing. I do have to give a down for King Corbin's new music though. Why can't we just pick one? Why does WWE all do this? Look, so we have the End of Days music, but then it kind of segues into some Game of Thrones ripoff, and then it goes back to the End of Days, and then it goes back to the Game of Thrones. If he's King Corbin now, and you want him to have a new presentation, just give him the Game of Thrones music, for goodness sake, down. These AOP promos as well, I mean, they are fire, and they have Paul Heyman's hands all over them. It's gonna get it up. They were back doing these sit-down chats, telling us how devastating and how dominating they're going to be, but also felt like they needed to prove it. So halfway through, they got up, the camera angle changed, they walked down the backstage corridor, they found Heath Slater, and I know, poor Heath Slater, and they beat the absolute taboo out of him. They then calmly returned to their seats, sat down, and carried on the video. This was really good stuff, and once again, much like Chad Gable, as long as WWE treats them in the way they should be treated, we may actually have a damn good tag team ready to go. This fatal five-way match, though, was excellent. There were some strange booking decisions, but did I have a good time? Yeah, damn right I did. Up. There's nothing major to tell you other than the eliminations, which I'm going to get from my phone in case I get it wrong. But Nakamura took out Ricochet, which was quite a surprise, and even the crowd reacted weird to that one. Like, why the hell has Ricochet been taken out as #1? So yeah, you can get worried about that. Styles took out Nakamura, Rude took out Styles, and Mysterio actually beat Bobby Roode, or Robert Roode, whatever the hell you want to call him, which does mean next week it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio for the Universal Championship. And you know what? That is a dream match, but it's going to be even better because we already know how it's going to end. Rey Mysterio is going to get absolutely trumped by the Fiend, and it's another legend that gets taken down to the canvas. I am okay with this. Before all of this, however, Ricochet was made to say, hello and welcome to yet another episode of Nobody Talks Like That with me, Simon Miller. Poor old Ricochet, because he had to say before his match, so there comes a times where we have a chance to soar, a chance to defy the odds. Tonight, that opportunity is mine, so a victory tonight not only gives me an opportunity at a title, but that superheroes are real. Where the hell did that line come from? And it proves my time has come. What the flubbins were you talking about, Ricochet? As always, I know you just give us some lines to read, but for goodness sake, get a marker pen out and please at least go, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. Also, I don't want to disappoint you and ruin your year. You're not actually a superhero. Superheroes don't exist. Down. Rollins was also just moaning after this. He was like, oh, I don't want to fight Braun Strowman. I don't want to fight Rey Mysterio next week, even though it's going to be great. Then I got to go to Hell in a Cell, and I got to fight the Fiend. It's like, what is going on with Seth Rollins? Are we like purposely booking him to be really, really annoying? Because right now he's really, really annoying. And ended it by going, I'm going to burn it down. I don't even care, Seth. It was then Seth versus Braun Strowman. And as I said at the start of the video, there are worse main events than that. It is going to get an up, and I know you're like, Simon, that is a hell of a lot of ups, but let me let you in on a little secret. When I enjoy something, I give it a lot of ups. Also, Raw always gets loads of ups and loads of downs, as it does right now. There's one more down to come too, by the way, because they always have around about 42 skits. And look, you only care about the ending, and yes, it was as good as you hoped it would be. Kind of interestingly though, it happened when Braun Strowman had Seth Rollins up for his running power slam, which would suggest maybe he was about to win this non-title match, but he never got round to it because the lights started to go crazy. We had that weird sound effect. The Fiend was in the ring, and he took Braun Strowman down with that claw. He then turned to Seth Rollins and stared at him like he was going to go up and lick his face. And as Braun Strowman started to get up, Bray turned around and he took him down again with the claw. The claw. These two fingers are more powerful than anything else in the wrestling world. Throughout all of that, Rollins was just staring at the Fiend like he was absolutely terrified. And that's also the last thing we saw before Raw faded to black. And that is what we've got to do. Everybody has to be scared and everybody has to be intimidated by the Fiend, even if you're meant to be a strong babyface. It's the only way to make the character work, because as somebody rightfully pointed out on social media, if you turn the lights up and you get rid of all the sound effects and all the reaction and all the noise, it is just a guy dressed up like a clown. It takes everything to make this work. And I will say this as well, if it doesn't end with Rollins losing at the pay-per-view and the Fiend becoming Universal Champion, I am going to protest. You know how that goes. I'll go on Twitter, I'll at some people, do some hashtags, and I'll go to Reddit. Reddit's a great place to moan. Moan, 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 moan. And I know I'm being a pedant, but I've got to mention it again just in the hopes that it stops. But as soon as the Fiend was in the ring, Michael Cole was once more going, "It's the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. It's the Fiend, Bray Wyatt." I mean, nobody talks like that, Michael Cole. Like if I have a mate and my mate the whole time goes, "Oh, hey, look, it's my friend Simon Miller." And then we go for a walk. He's like, "How you doing, my friend Simon Miller?" And then we're at work. He goes, "Oh, my friend Simon Miller, how much do you have left to do?" I am likely to rip his nipples off. I mean, no, I wouldn't do that, but it would become really, really frustrating. Call him Bray, call him Wyatt, call him the Fiend. You don't have to take all four and push them together. Literally, nobody talks like that. Down. So you've probably already figured out, but yes, for some reason, maybe I'm just in a particularly happy mood today. I had a great time watching this episode of Raw. It did not feel like 3 hours. It zoomed by, and again, I didn't enjoy everything that happened. When all was said and done, I stood up from my sofa, I went to the loo, because, 3 hours is a long time, I need to relieve myself, and I felt pretty good about the world and pretty excited about next week when everything starts again. For example, we've got ups and downs tomorrow, but it's the last ups and downs on a Wednesday. SmackDown's moving to Saturday, AEW's going to be Thursday. I can't even keep up anymore. There's my spinning arrow. Give Raw an up. I look forward to all your rage in the comments. But no, even if I do decide to read them, I'm always smiling. I'm the bald asshole Simon Miller. That's how Michael Cole would say it. Now, as always, leave a comment below, subscribe, like, and share. But also, sneakily on the down low, why don't you type in Kayfabe News to your YouTube search bar and go and subscribe to Kayfabe News. Maybe you'll recognize somebody on there. That would be me, and maybe we've started a satirical news channel that is dedicated to wrestling. So I'd appreciate it if you went and did that. But also, head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some more articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. It's how you stay up to date. Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling, but also Kayfabe News. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Let's just wrap this up because it was a really sort of, skit-heavy episode of Raw, and I bet it's already gone like 722 minutes. I don't know, it's meant to be a recap show, but I do my best. I'll see you tomorrow.